Well, if you've ever wondered if your kids have too many toys or way too many toys, you're definitely not alone. In fact, as it's studied more and more, researchers in Germany were starting to make a connection between children having a lot of toys in childhood and addictive behaviors as they grew up. And so they've done more research where they literally took all of the toys, including art supplies, crayons, and paper, out of the child care centers. And so what they found is you're probably not gonna be surprised by this. At first, the children were lost without their toys, but they soon began unsystematic activities that led to role plays, construction projects, and excursions to the woods to collect branches. They made handcrafts and learned to play together and work on common ideas together. The study found that the children whose toys had been taken away were more creative, well-balanced, had more faith in their abilities. They learned to say yes and no, and also how to use their skills and those of others to achieve their objectives. Just from taking away their toys. For many of us parents, we often wonder, where's the line? How many toys are too many toys? How many should we have? How many do they need? And so today we'll talk a little bit more about some really interesting research, as well as what our experience has been over the last 5 years as we've significantly simplified the number of toys that we keep in our house. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids, ages 4 through 9. And over the course of the last 6 years or so, we've just been simplifying our lifestyle, which also means toys. And with 4 kids, you can imagine over the last 10 years, there have been a lot of toys that have come and gone from our house. So today, I just want to take a few minutes to share some of the research that backs simplifying our kids' toys, but then also just what our personal experience has been and some of the really awesome benefits that we've experienced that I never in a million years would have expected. And so I shared, what they've been finding in Germany. Another study was done by Johns Hopkins here in the US. And what they found is that scarcity breeds creativity, not abundance. And as parents, a lot of times we joke about it that the kids enjoy playing with the cardboard boxes after Christmas more than the toys. So we have definitely seen some of this in our kids. And as I was reading through some of the benefits, I was like, wow, this would be benefits that we would expect from like a top level preschool, when they're saying that kids are more creative, they're well balanced, they had more faith in their own abilities, they had better ability to work together and problem solve with other kids. I mean, these are phenomenal life skills that these kids are learning, and our intuition would not be that this comes from taking away all of their toys and all of their creative tools like their crayons and paper. We would think that this would come from some kind of structured program or some new teaching style or Montessori program or something like that. And so there's also a lot of research now that says from age 0 to age 8 that it's all about right brain development, and that is our creative side. That is the side of the brain though that is also involved with being present and being here in the moment. And the German scientists, they were worried about seeing a connection of having a lot of toys early on and then addictive behavior later in life. And what they said is that kids that had a lot of toys or physical possessions were relying on those things to escape their feelings of boredom and anxiety. And so we can see then how that could translate to addictive behaviors in the future too, if we have an inability to deal with those feelings. And so of course, none of us as parents would ever think, oh, because I let my kids have too many toys, now they're gonna have addictive behavior as adults. We're all just doing the best we can. We all just want our kids to be happy. And we would never in a million years think that taking away all their toys would be the key to that success. And so I know that this is a total different way of looking at toys, but I hope by just sharing some of this scientific research that's now becoming available, and then also just some of our own experiences with our own kids, that you can decide what that balance looks like for your family. And so that's some of the scientific research, but what we've experienced in our household has actually been really similar. We simplified our toys over 5 years ago, and at first it just started out as I wanted less to manage. I knew it was too much for the kids to take care of on their own, so I wanted to pare it down to an amount of toys that they actually played with, that they could take care of on their own, that it was the right amount that I could feel good about saying, no, you need to pick those up, and it wasn't an overwhelming task. Those were kind of my basic criteria when we originally simplified our toys. And so like I said, our kids are ages 4 through 9, and we started this when our youngest was just born. And so right now, currently, all of their toys fit into these bins, and it's from IKEA, and everything fits in there. But honestly, a lot of them don't even get used anymore. The main things that get used are blocks and Legos. So just to give you an idea what we do have for toys, I actually have quite a few videos on toys and simplifying toys and whether the kids should help and what to do with really well-meaning family members that give us lots of toys. So I'll link to all of those down below so you can kind of see what's in our toy bins and all those other questions. So you can find those down below. But what have we experienced since we've simplified our toys? What I've really come to learn over the past 5 years is that our kids are most happy, most content, least bored when they are creating something themselves. So in the past, we would give them toys like this, right? And it lights up and it makes noise and it moves on its own. And so it's like, what little kid wouldn't love this toy, right? And I think back to like, my brother would have loved having this when we were growing up, right? But what's interesting is this has hardly gotten any use at our house. What would they rather play with? They would rather play with cardboard and tape. They would rather be creating something themselves. They would rather be making the dollhouse themselves rather than me buying the dollhouse for them. Our oldest loves to make doll clothes. She loves to make doll furniture. She makes it out of sticks and cardboard and hot glue, and then she likes to paint it herself. When we just gave them the doll furniture, it hardly ever got played with. And I talked about our Barbie house too. Never got played with. But yet since then, she's made several doll houses and several doll accessories. And so what I'm learning, and I'm still having to really wrap my head around, is that our kids have these incredibly creative minds, and whenever they're acting out or they seem bored, it's because their mind isn't engaged. It's not because they're bad kids. It's not even necessarily because I'm doing something wrong as a parent. It's because their mind isn't engaged. And so what I'm finding is that most of these toys that we had, oh goodness. And so what I'm finding is that most of these toys that we had in the past were almost insulting their creativity, because with this, there really isn't much left to do with, I mean, it even moves on its own, right? There wasn't a whole lot left to do with this. Whereas when they're playing with tape, I mean, we can't keep tape in our house, tape and cardboard, they are constantly creating all kinds, so many things, I can't even list them all. And that is when they are the happiest, because they have these brilliant creative minds. And again, this was almost insulting them when I was giving these toys that kind of did everything for them. And so that's what I've really had to keep in mind, even now as we, you know, we have to resimplify toys. We still get gifts after Christmas and birthdays, but I keep that in the back of my mind of they're happiest when they're creating. They're happiest when they're outside exploring and, you know, building stuff out of sticks and random things that they find outside. But here is some of the unexpected benefits. So they're definitely able to occupy their time better and play on their own for a lot longer. And they play so much better together. All four of them can play on their own really well, but then even like during the day today when Gage is home and the other three are at school, he just makes stuff, like it just all day long he's just making stuff. It's the other day he went to the recycling bin to pull out in our island, and he opened it and he was like, oh, no cardboard. And we didn't have any kind of like cereal box or any kind of cardboard in the recycling bin, and he was so sad. So that's a sad day at our house when there's no cardboard to make something out of. So I had to go out to the garage and find him some. But I'm also finding that when we go out in public, like if we go to a restaurant, honestly, hardly a time goes by that we're out at a restaurant that someone doesn't stop by our table and say, your kids are so well behaved. And it's gotten to the point where I almost just want to be like, stop, like we're not anything special, our kids aren't anything special. It's just that they've learned how to occupy themselves. They're really able just to, wherever they're at, whether it's in the car or at a restaurant, in an airplane, they can just take whatever they have and find something to do to entertain or occupy themselves for whatever time that they need to. And so that has probably been one of the coolest gifts. And if you ever feel like, you know, when you're out in public, your kids are wanting to get up and down and we have to, you know, give them our phone or an iPad just to keep them distracted so that we can enjoy our meal, I think that you might find that they're not bad kids. It's not that they necessarily need to be disciplined. It's really just that they haven't necessarily cultivated or developed this ability to be able to be creative wherever they're at. So that has been one of the best benefits. Even yesterday, Tom might have accidentally cut through the internet cable on our house when he was working on the siding. And so yesterday, Gage and I went to a coffee shop so I could use the internet for a little while. And I let him bring with whatever he wanted to do. So he brought one piece of paper and 3 markers. And for an hour, we sat there and he just drew pictures and totally entertained himself. So that has definitely been one of the best benefits that we've experienced. But it is fun just to see them being creative, seeing all of the things that they come up with. It's been really fun. And so I do want to tell you though that I know that if we decide like, okay, yeah, maybe our kids could benefit from this. You know, I have videos about how to go about selecting which toys to keep out, how to pack some up and just tuck them away so you can find out if they miss any of them, or what to do if your kids are having a hard time partying with them. That's all tackled in the videos down below. But I do know that sometimes if we decide, okay, I think we do want to try this at our house, we want to have way fewer toys, and then what happens is a relative comes over, a friend comes over, and they're like, where are all the toys? Where's that birthday gift I gave? Where's that Christmas gift? And so I know that that can be really difficult, and at times I felt really misunderstood because it's felt kind of like, oh, well, Dawn just wants to keep her house clean, or Dawn wants to be a minimalist now, so now the kids don't get toys and they don't have a say in it. And that really couldn't be further from the truth, because the truth is that if toys were doing their job, if they were doing what we expected, what we were getting sold that their benefits are, that the kids were gonna play with them all the time and they're gonna love them and they're gonna have so much fun, we would have tons of toys, because that's the whole point, is to occupy their time. And so I can make dinner without being bothered, right? But that was not our experience at all. The kids were crabby, they were overwhelmed, they didn't share well, they were always coming to me saying, I'm bored, and they had nothing to do even though they had all of these toys. So I know what it feels like to be misunderstood if you do start this process of simplifying your toys, but I do want to tell you that it is so worthwhile. And especially now looking back over the last 5 years, I'm really glad that we did stick to our guns on this and we did press forward with it, even when it wasn't easy and even when we felt really misunderstood in the process. So that's my encouragement too, is that not everyone is gonna understand. I try to explain the benefits best I can, but probably at the end of the day, not everyone's gonna understand, but I do still think it's really worthwhile to pursue this. So I hope this helps. I would love to know what your experience has been with toys. Have you simplified and you're getting to experience some of these benefits? Do you feel like, are you having the same experience where kids are more creative and able to occupy themselves? Or do you still feel like you're at the other end of the spectrum where you have a long ways to go? Please share that down below. We'd love to encourage you. We'd love to brainstorm with you. And certainly if you've already arrived there, we love hearing the benefits, because that's really encouraging to other people as well. So please share that down below. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love it if you did so. It's more fun to do this together. Sometimes we need support for this process. So I'd love if you subscribe so we can spend more time together. A thumbs up is so kind of you and greatly appreciated. And I look forward to visiting with you again really soon.